Hey everyone, it's Chris with HotShotsCatering.com, and this is another episode of Hot Shots TV. Is your brain in a fog? Well, I got the perfect solution for you coming right up. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to this week's episode and review. So, the coffee review I'm going to be doing today is actually all about getting your mind out of that fog. And if you know what I'm talking about, you probably are familiar with dieting, keto, and ketosis. And primarily people that like that type of diet, low carb, getting your ketos, all that type of stuff. It's really about one, keeping your body energized and healthy, but also keeping a clear mind. And being on a low carb diet like that is one of the strong points of it, is actually being able to be very clear. So I was brought on to this coffee, and you're probably familiar. I've done a review with this before for our 2019 Best of Coffees. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below, but definitely check out that video where I did the original tasting of this, and this was actually one of the top coffees that I recommended for 2019 right off the shelf at your local grocery store. Today we will be reviewing the Bulletproof K-Cup version, which I will tell you is actually very similar to the original post that I've made. In full transparency, I have tasted this coffee before, just once, but I'm happy to taste it again and give you guys a clear understanding with the K-Cup version of what that taste is going to taste like. But before we get into any of that, first I wanted to let you guys know that now with our review process, we're going to make it a lot easier for you to kind of follow along, especially if you just want to get a quick Cliff Notes version of what we're doing. It's easy to scroll through this video, take a look at our coffee profile that I have here, and that will also be somewhere up here as I do the video to let you know my thoughts on these coffees as reviewing them. And this coffee profile will actually also have a copy down in the description below, so you can kind of follow along if you like for this coffee. And then every time we do a review, you'll be able to kind of download this sheet and either follow along or kind of just make a quick note to understand what we're talking about here as far as notes, color and taste, all that good stuff. And I think that's important when you do a review, you know, primarily with coffee. We want to be able to be quick, efficient at getting you kind of a good review and understanding, instead of me just rambling on about the coffee and what I think of it. You just want to have a good understanding of what the coffee has to offer you. So like I said, this was one of the top, basically 1-2 in this year's recommended coffees off the shelf from us at Hot Shots, and we're going to get into a tasting and explain a little detail in more why. But first, before I did that, I did want to just kind of go over the actual founder and CEO of this coffee a little bit, tell you a little bit more about it. You know, this is, in other words, considered the butter coffee. And if you've probably heard before, is a lot of people have now started putting butter, or they call it, I think it's like MCT oils into the coffee to actually create, normally it's like a coconut oil or something like that, something that's like a good fat. And that kind of allows you to have a lot more energy, especially when you're looking at a diet like keto, you know, like a keto diet or a low carb diet, Atkins, things of that nature. You probably would know what I'm talking about if you follow along with that. But regardless, in 2004, Dave Osprey, the Bulletproof founder, CEO, and father of biohacking, so I guess originally he was a hacker. I'll also show a video, if I can get a link, I'll show that in the description below, give you a little bit more insight of what I'm talking about here. But, you know, he was ever since he was 16, he always had a little bit extra weight on himself and really wanted to lose weight and get a clear mind and feel better about himself. So he actually went to go to a monk monastery in Tibet and actually meditated with the Tibetans, I guess is how you say that, and actually learned all about that. And it wasn't until he climbed a mountain at about 18,000 feet above sea level, and he was on a trek at -10 degrees, and a local actually gave him a creamy cup of yak butter tea, and that really is what opened his eyes to say, there's some kind of connection here between the butter and the energy of the tea. How can I get that on a daily basis? And so that's really what changed him, and the biohacker in him wanted him to understand why the tea made him feel so good, because it instantly snapped him up and made him feel a lot better. Since then, he built this Bulletproof branded coffee on science, and really lost about 100 pounds, transformed his whole life. And, you know, really the interesting thing about this product is that it's really backed by science, and it's really a clean coffee as well. It's not something that is, you know, in another way, a lot of chemicals and things of that nature. That's kind of what their whole goal is to create a coffee that they can get to you that's as clean as possible, without any kind of big chemical processes in it, and be able to get you straight to the energy. And then you can also, they always recommend adding either some type of oils or butters to the coffee to give you that extra energy that you might be looking for. So with that all said, let's start getting into the tasting. So while the coffee's brewing, I thought it would be a good time to remind you guys, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel. And if you love what we're doing, hit that thumbs up button. If you don't like what we're doing, hit the thumbs down button. You know, either way works. But if you hit that thumbs down button, please be honest enough to leave a comment of what you do not like about our channel and what I'm doing. You know, I love criticism. And especially if it's reinforcement criticism of what we could be doing better, what I could be telling you about that maybe I'm not talking about, I would really love to do that. So do that if you guys don't mind. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up, thumbs down. If you do the thumbs down, leave a comment. And even if you do the thumbs up and there's something that you feel that we're missing, or that you would like to learn more about with coffee, let us know. And if you're in the DFW area and you're interested in what we do as a business, which is the Gourmet Coffee Experience as a catering service, check out hotshotscatering.com, and that will tell you all about who we are and what we can offer you. All right, thank you guys, and let's get back to the tasting. So we just brewed our fresh cup of Bulletproof coffee, and let's just go down the list of our coffee profile, shall we? Now you can follow along, download the sheet, and follow along in the description box below if you like, or I'll also have it right here next to me so you can kind of see what we are doing. Let's start with aroma. So far as smells go, it smells like a fresh cup of coffee, which is always a plus. It smells fresh, doesn't smell stale or anything like that, obviously. It shouldn't. In most coffees, as far as the aroma goes, it should be pretty good. So for aroma, let's start with good for the aroma. The next on the list is color. Now I will tell you, as far as the color, we haven't done a lot of K-Cups yet in our review lineup. This is actually one of the first or second since we've done the brewing with the Walmart K-Cup brewer. So far I can say that this is definitely a medium to dark as far as color. Now it is a Bulletproof medium roast, but I will tell you from the colors, and this is probably why I like it the most, is it's definitely a dark to medium color, medium to dark color, more leaning upon the dark side of coffee. Which, if you remember the 2019 video, Best of Coffees video that we did, like I said, description down below, I think I even mentioned that I was surprised because the bean color of this coffee was actually light brown, as opposed to like an Italian roast or something like that. So as far as color, let's go medium to dark. probably more like dark. And then we'll see as we start reviewing these other K-Cups what color notes we have here, or profiles we have. Let's get into taste. Now, first of all, as I've said in the previous video with the tasting, that this is one of my favorite off-the-shelf coffees right now. It's very, very good. I will tell you though, if I start at just by looking at our taste profile here, we have acidic, rich, bold, sour, old, stale, and sweet. It actually is kind of weird to me because it starts off almost acidic when you first take that first sip, and then it slowly smooths out into kind of a bold, rich flavor. And I think that's interesting to me. I actually like the taste of that. And really, I think it's just the fact that it's more of a bold, rich coffee as opposed to some others that end up being acidic and weak, or more so when I try some espressos and coffees, the acidity is more at the end to me than it is brought on at the beginning. So that's very interesting about this coffee. And I don't obviously know the reason why, but I will tell you, I love the taste of this coffee. For me, a lot of coffees fail short as far as just being bold, rich, and impactful. I think an off-the-shelf coffee like this does a very, very good job of getting that bold and richness right off the bat. So as far as taste, I would go rich, bold. You could probably put acidic, but more so acidic at the beginning of this coffee than at the end. As far as notes go, I know when I put cream in it, it definitely has a buttery taste to me. That rich boldness, buttery, it definitely has that. I'm not really tasting a lot of that in this black cup of coffee here. Other than that, I would say maybe nutty. Definitely not herbal, definitely not fruity, citrus. Definitely doesn't taste artificial to me, but maybe more nutty, smoky. It's, like I said, very bold cup of coffee. Maybe a little bit. Some people might even taste a leather taste that I have noted here as well. So buttery, nutty, leather, smoky, all those kind of things you would put with a bold cup of coffee. But something that is kind of even a little bit more separate would be kind of more those smoky, buttery notes that I think are particular to this coffee in particular than some of the others that we've tried. So that completes the coffee profile. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, but I hope you learned a little bit about the Bulletproof coffee as far as how it got started, and then my complete review of this coffee. And let me know in the comments section below what you think of this review. Do you want to see reviews longer about coffees like this? Do you want to see them shorter than this? And like I said before, please be sure to subscribe to our channel, and I will see you with another review very soon. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Chris Stana with Hot Shots, and I'll see you next time. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video today. And if you want to see more great content, click here. Have you subscribed yet? Click here. Do you want to find out more about Hot Shots? Go to hotshotscatering.com and find out why we are the premier gourmet coffee caterer in the DFW Metroplex. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.